How you all are, guys? This is Joey. I got a big old pimple right there, and if I seem like I'm talking like this the whole time, that's why. Because I'm trying to keep it so you don't see it here. I'm gonna talk like this the whole time. Anyway, we're gonna be talking about racism in cricket, specifically with the South African team. I'm sure you've heard some of the news there, and my perspective on this is different as an American. I think Americans view racism and race very differently from other cultures, and my opinions on this have been a little bit different or more nuanced than other people's. Before we get into that, right down there, that's the like and subscribe button. Go ahead and click that if you like these kind of videos or other videos or any type of videos. Actually, if you like any type of videos on any content, whatever, you should like and subscribe because I post videos all the time. And if you want to get videos, this is a channel for you, baby. Click that button right now. Okay. So I'm from the United States of America. When I first got into cricket and rugby, I thought it was really messed up, South Africa's team, because I was like, okay, South Africa had apartheid and in like 1994. Why is this team so white? I mean, that was the first thing when I saw the rugby team. When I saw the cricket team, I was like, holy crap. And I hope I'm not offending anybody by this, but if I do, F it, When I saw the team, I was like, holy crap. And then I learned about Namibia and I was like, oh my God, there's another South Africa junior. And then I learned about Zimbabwe. Like Zimbabwe have white people on their team too. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe my eyes. It's like too hot. And I need coffee, but it's too hot. And so in the back of my mind, it's like, okay, you're new to cricket. Like, so just keep that. Don't try to like force an issue. But it was just like, it did bother me a little bit, to be honest. And it still does. Like, I wouldn't want to, oh, guys, don't hate me for this. But, rooting for South Africa would kind of be difficult just because of the history there. Like that would be like a dangerous thing to cross. And I wouldn't want to be in that. I wouldn't want to be categorized as somebody that was okay with that kind of thing, if it makes sense. Am I making any sense right now? I had a huge burp, which is good because I didn't have an end to that thought right there. So I'm disgusting. I don't care. So this article here I got from Reddit says, it's a concern. Cricket South Africa chief executive officer unsettled over only one black African player in South Africa's T20 World Cup squad. What we'll learn here is that this CEO is kind of a douchebag, I guess you could say, and it's kind of his fault why there isn't better racially black talent on the South African team. I mean, yeah, it is a shame. I agree with him there, but there are reasons why you have to get the game out to different types of people. You have to promote the game. Like people aren't just going to be good at cricket just because they're in South Africa. They're not just going to magically be good at cricket. It's just like we talk about in the United States. Cricket here is a game for expatriates. It's for people of immigrants. So if you see a lot of people who are good in cricket in the United States are sons and daughters of people from India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, places like that, and the Caribbean. That's no mistake because it takes, a culture to cultivate a good cricket player. It just doesn't happen naturally, is what I'm getting at. Let's take a look at the rugby team. And, this is a way bigger rugby team than, it's the 15-man squad, but you see maybe 9 black people here in rugby. How, wow, there are still a lot of lighter skinned people. I mean, that's okay. I'm light skinned too, so if I played on that team, I'd be one of them. If you look on the soccer team from South Africa, it's flipped, and again, this has to do with communities and their preferences for sports. So you can't just force like certain races to like certain sports. And it works the same way in North America. For example, basketball in the United States. I like basketball too, but if you take the national basketball team from the United States, it's going to be all or majority African American players, and that is fine. Like nobody cares because those are the best players. And it's not like we can't cultivate players in the lower levels that are white. There's a lot of white players. John Stockton, remember him growing up, in the Utah Jazz. There was a lot of good white players, but for this squad in this moment, it makes sense to put these players on here, and they just happen to be all black. Or if you go to like Canada's national hockey team, majority of the players will be white or 100% white. And they'll also be like missing teeth, like this guy right here. Look at that. Oh my gosh. And this guy right here. So they'll be toothless and white. Or if you go into baseball, it's like more of a mix, and you're seeing more Asian players in baseball. You're seeing more Latinos in baseball. So it also, if you play like American soccer in the United States, it's going to be more Latino players. So, it's a mix. But if you play basketball, you're probably not going to get Latino players. It depends on the sport, is what I'm trying to say. But it did shock me when I saw Zimbabwe, but that's just the historical roots of the game developed in that community, and they kind of hold on to it, if that makes sense. So we're going to read this article here. It's a concern. Cricket South Africa CEO Poletsi Moseki has raised concerns about only one black African player in the Proteas squad, the upcoming T20 World Cup. However, Moseki also disclosed head coach Rob Walters' confirmation that a specific number of players of color wasn't required for the showpiece event. With Temba Bavuma axed from the T20 World Cup squad due to poor performance, Kagiso Rabada remains the only black African player in the touring party to the West Indies and United States. It is reportedly the lowest number of black African players in South Africa's squad at an ICC event since 2016. Speaking to News 24, Moseki underlined his concerns and stated that that's there to ensure that by the time one gets to the national team, they won't be questioned as a quota player. If there aren't enough black players in their hands at domestic level, there won't be enough to get through to the national team. It's a concern that we're taking a team to the World Cup with only one black African player in conjunction with the director of cricket. There were cricket reasons. The Proteas transformation targets aren't based on the numbers they send to tournaments, but the numbers are based on how they average over a season. After announcing the squad on Tuesday, head coach Rob Walter suggested that they had picked the best team possible. However, Walter believes the system needs to improve so that the demographics look different come the 2027 ODI World Cup. He said, "The reality and my number one imperative is to create a winning Proteas team. In order to do that, every time I have to pick the best at the time, I think will give us a chance at doing that. The system really needs to up the ante so that in 6 months, 12 months, or 2 years' time, and in particular, when we reach the 2027 ODI World Cup at home, that we, the demographics and representation in our team, start to look a bit different." That is a very, very politically good way to put it. Let's see what they said on Reddit. Steal all the money, spend nothing on development and infrastructure, then complain there's only one black player. Sounds about right. Typical South African government move. Ignore the source of the problem, in this case that cricket is dominated by wealthy, historically white schools, and complain about the end result. We see this everywhere, such as with the government failing to fix massive issues with schooling and then expecting the labor markets to make qualified black candidates appear out of thin air when implementing employment quotas. 30 years since apartheid and didn't do much to develop youth facilities in black neighborhoods. It's easier to insist that the CSA gives preferential treatments to black players that do make it to first class level than actually try to fix the root cause. And I thought this comment was really, really good. Quota in age group level cricket makes perfect sense. Quotas in domestic cricket are a net negative as it weakens the domestic pool. Quotas at the international level are undeniably, unequivocally stupid, obtuse, and borderline bigoted. We're selecting the best 15 to try to win the World Cup. That 15 includes non-white players. There are no other non-white players who can argue that they should be included. We do, however, not have non-white talent who are doing really well. And yet, instead of recognizing that our non-white pool has never been stronger, we complain that our current World Cup squad doesn't have enough of one particular race. Ridiculous and shambolic, and it's why our cricket will never return to the heights what it once was, and why I will never win international tournaments at any level of consistency. Well, there you have it. What do you guys think about that? Yeah, I think those comments were really good. I think it sums it up perfectly. Develop the pool of players, and then, that can be manipulated based on race, if that makes sense. You can try to have quotas there in the lower levels or make better outreach programs. But in terms of selecting the top 15 candidates, absolutely should be based entirely on merit. So let me know what you think in the comments, like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Later.